Hello Team Iceland, welcome back to my channel where we talk all things Iceland and the best tips for your planning. Today I brought back our very special guest, favorite Icelander Jens Angri. What's up?
Good.
Good.
I'm good.
Today we have a fun video for you because we're talking about a little bit more cultural things for Iceland.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting to throw in some of these tidbits. We're talking about how naming traditions go in Iceland, and I have to say I'm very excited about this right now, given that we have someone on the way and we're thinking about these naming things, and they're unique.
Yeah.
This baby doesn't have to follow your rules, thank goodness.
No, it doesn't.
I'm excluded because I'm a foreigner. But anyway, before we get into the good stuff of this video, make sure you are subscribed to the channel because, every week we're just like giving you new Iceland information. So if you're planning a trip, you're gonna wanna know when the videos come out, so make sure to hit subscribe. Let's get into it.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm Jeannie, and in 2014, my husband and I traveled to Iceland for our honeymoon. We fell head over heels in love with the landscapes, food, and culture, and less than a year later, we sold everything we owned and bought a one-way ticket back. Over the years, we've traveled all around this amazing country, uncovering the best road trip stops, foodie finds, and hidden gems. Now, I've made it my mission to be your one-stop resource and share what I know so that you can plan the best trip ever. Let's get into it.
All right, so the first thing you guys have is like sons and daughters.
Yeah.
So explain this.
Sonur is son, daughter is the girl. My last name is Fylkisson. My sister's last name is Fylkisdottir. My father's name was Fylkir, but my last name is my father's first name. My son's last name is my first name. Mm-hmm. So that's a little bit different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is different.
Yeah. And on the ending, like with Jensson and Jensdottir, that depends on if the baby is a boy or a girl.
Yes.
So yeah, it's a little bit different.
It's different. So this is, I would say that maybe like Iceland is one of the only Scandinavian countries to hold on so strong to this tradition, right?
No one else does it.
It's like, very, very
Or
Icelandic.
very little at least.
And wouldn't you say that, because it's not all names are like this, because there's a certain exception, right?
Yeah, we have family names that people use, and the whole family will use that name. But if the husband has that name, the babies can use that name. The wife doesn't have to take it.
Okay.
She just keeps her name. Well, that's a different thing. We don't do that.
But it's quite rare to have these family names.
Yeah, there's family names of maybe 5-10% of the country.
Okay.
5%.
Yeah. So for, like, as a comparison, in the US at least, when we get married to someone, it's common, it's not always, that the woman would take the man's last name. So you have this, similar name. And then when you have children, they have the same last name as me.
Yeah.
Right? So my husband's name is Bobby. We are not going to name our son X name Bobby's son. But that's how it would work in theory.
Yeah. In theory, it would work here.
So you always use the name of the father of the baby.
99% of the time, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
You can use your mother's first name. Mm-hmm. Some people use both parents' names, which I think is more confusing, but what people do is what people do.
Okay.
But 99% of the time, it's the father's name is your last name.
All right, and then the next thing that I wanted to talk about is that in most circumstances, I see first and second names always kind of like put together. So if you're registering for an appointment, like, for example, the CrossFit Games was on recently, and it was like Björkvin Karl Gudmundsson. Yeah, it's like the three names instead of just your first and last name, which we usually tend to go by. So this second name seems quite important in your culture as well.
Yeah, it does. In my family, I'm the only one who has two names. My sister has one name, my brother has one name. I'm the only one in my family, but it's more common to have two names. Sometimes people will optionally not use the middle name or not use the first name. They will just exclude that and just use the other ones. Then some people will put the first name and then just the initial and the last name.
Okay.
So it depends on, it kind of depends on what you are called in day-to-day life.
Yeah, because sometimes also you'll use both the first and last name. When you address your son, you're usually saying his first and middle name.
Yeah.
Usually, right?
Usually. But sometimes I will just use one of them or just something.
Yeah. So there's all kinds of different rules, but this middle name or this second name is quite a part of the name.
Yeah.
In Iceland.
Yeah. And people more commonly have two names. Usually when people are given names, they will use two names. Sometimes the names will be related to the family, so you will end up by having like 5 to 10 with that first name. Then the middle name will have to,
You guys,
who is who.
you keep a lot of names within the family, right? So it's
Some
like
families do that a lot.
There'd be like 3 people with the same first name because that's a very big compliment to name your child
after a person.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can take, you want to name him after your, like my grandmother or something, whatever. You will take her name and you will change it into a boy's name.
Oh, what's an example of that one?
Jens. And my grandmother was Jensina.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
So, and all kinds of stuff like that.
Okay. So this is the most unique thing, in my opinion, and it's that you don't name your babies. Well, you do. Is that okay? You don't announce the name of your baby when they're born. So when our baby comes, we're gonna call our families and we're gonna say, "This is baby," and say the name. We're gonna already know before the birth, and then we're gonna announce that. But you usually don't pick the name for the first 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah, it kind of depends. It can be the baby is born on this day, but this is a special day in the family or a special day, whatever. So we're going to use that day for naming. And then there's a naming ceremony and blah, 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 blah. You don't want to do that, the day you give birth. So, it's always, this waiting period.
So the reason usually is that the naming ceremony is a big deal in your culture. So you have your friends and your family come together and that's when you announce the name to them, but you want them all to come and you want to do that after you've had some time to rest.
Exactly.
And host and have some food and things like that. So I get it. It's just so weird because, when I will meet a little baby, they don't have a name yet. It's not that you haven't thought of a name. I mean, do people think about names during pregnancy? Because that's topic number 1 for me and my husband right now is we need to find a name. But do you think about names before the baby's even born?
Oh, yeah. People will have, if it's a boy, they will have, a list of names and they will find and make a decision. It's going to be this if it's a boy and this if it's a girl.
Okay.
Either they will have it checked out or just wait until the baby comes.
Yeah.
And then they will, exclude, of course.
Because sometimes people tell me that they don't know what their baby looks like, so they can't say it's going to be this name if he looks like this name.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, man. You guys have to run these names by, they either have to be already established in your language, or they have to go to the naming committee. And this is so wild to me because the name has to be approved by the Icelandic Naming Committee before you can name your baby this. You can't decide. You can't just have this random name that you heard from abroad that sounds cool and use it. It has to be approved. And so what is the explanation for this one?
Probably tradition. And holding on to Icelandic because in some names do not fit our grammar.
Yeah, okay.
So they will have to fit our grammar rules. If they don't, they're excluded.
So this is something that people definitely won't be aware of because this still doesn't make sense to me. But names in Icelandic a name has to be able to be conjugated when you're talking about them in the different.
It depends on, are you talking about the person,
Yes.
to the person, with the person,
Yes.
stuff like that. It has to fit that grammar. And
So your name could change. It's not always that your name is Gumme. It could be that your name is Gumma, depending on which way they're saying it. And that is
and even
so
the
wild.
whole name can change.
Yeah, I don't get it, but
Ég er að fara til Egils.
yes.
I'm going to Egils, but I'm with Agli. The first name changes.
The
first
whole
letter, literally.
first name is different.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
so that's like the grammar part of it, is you can't just have a name that can't be conjugated, because then no one would know how to say your name in that context.
Yeah, and we literally have a few names that are people who have always have problems with.
This rural committee, they
Yeah.
are determining which rules. And
There's
it
a lot
really
of
does.
debate of if they should be or shouldn't be. I say they should be because they
Yeah.
follow the Icelandic rules. Should they be as strict as they are? No.
But they're trying to keep the Icelandic
Yeah,
language.
they're
and culture.
trying to keep
Yeah.
the Icelandic names,
Yeah.
but yeah,
It's
some.
fun. Now, of course, so because of all of these naming rules and your first and middle last name, like all of the people in Iceland are listed in the phone book by their first names. So that is very, very different than, I would say, most other places.
That's the correct way of doing it.
So you don't look up like A for Anderson and then find Anderson, comma John. You look up J for John.
Exactly.
Okay, and that's how they do it in the phone book here.
Yeah.
And then I would assume that it's pretty common that people have the same name, right?
yeah,
Because
yeah.
of these naming rules, like,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
There's duplicates of people. So how do you keep that straight?
One of my best friends is Pétur Björn Pétursson. His father's name is Pétur Björn Pétursson. They have the exact same name.
Oh.
Which is not so common here in Iceland.
Yeah.
So they don't have senior and junior like you guys would put it. No, they would put in the phone book. They would put occupation or something like that, and then of course the address.
That's how you distinguish who it is.
Yeah, just call them both.
Oh, just try both. Wow. That's a lot of people to keep straight.
Yeah,
And that's why you have nicknames and middle names.
exactly. But we don't use this junior, senior, or the third. Or,
Yeah. So funny. The last thing that we kind of talked about this in another video, but I did want to mention because it's definitely unique in Iceland, and that's that everyone goes by their first name, and you don't use these titles to address people. Like for example, I went to school for a lot of years to become a doctor, and no one calls me doctor here. It's just they call me Jeannie, and I'm like, hi. Lots of years of school,
Yeah.
but it doesn't matter to you guys. Everyone is on
we
a first
know
name
that
basis.
you're a doctor, but your name is still Jeannie. So it's polite to call you by your name. But in the US, you would consider it polite to call you by your occupation or your last name.
Yeah. So literally, like for the president or for your teachers, it's just the way it is here. Like no one is more important than the other person, so everyone is first names. It took me a long time to get used to that.
But like our president, we do not call him by his last name, which makes no sense. We don't call him Mr. President.
Yeah.
It's Guðni Forseti.
Yeah.
Guðni President.
Yeah.
President Guðni. But for us, it's Guðni Forseti.
Yeah.
So we would probably you could put the name and the occupation of that person together.
That's what you would do.
Yeah, that's what we would do.
Yep. Got it. I've seen that quite a bit. Well, anyway, it's just a fun learning experience, and I thought it would be fun to share it with everyone because they all know I'm pregnant, and again, we don't have to use these rules, but it's definitely.
But please do and start a trend and let the whole world change.
Let the whole world adopt this system
Yeah.
of daughters and sons. Just like everything else, I feel like it's it's starting to rub off on me, and I quite like it.
Yeah.
Because you start to see it as well, like, this name is passed through this family, and that's just so prideful for them. And then, it's just, yeah, it's lovely.
It is.
So now you guys know, if you see a lot of repeat names in Iceland, now you know why.
Yeah.
And we were wondering if you guys have any questions for us about the naming system or anything that you found unique from this video. Just let us know
Ask below.
in the comments, and I'll let this one take over because I still don't know all the rules. Alright friends, thank you so much for watching. Remember, if you found this video interesting, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe for new Iceland videos all the time, and we'll see you again next time.
Yeah.
Happy planning.